Please can you remind me, if you'll be so kind, staring out into space, asking God to hear my case, trying to think of all things past. How long will my memory last? The purple angel, the purple angel, the purple angel.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Alzheimer Speaks Radio. I'm your host and founder of Alzheimer Speaks, Lori LeBay. We are broadcasting out of Minneapolis, Minnesota here, and it's beautiful, sunshiny day. So glad to hear it, but we can feel the fall in the air and the leaves are falling. So kind of that change of season here in the Midwest. For those of you that are new to our show, Alzheimer Speaks is an advocacy-based company providing multiple platforms to shift our dementia care culture from crisis to comfort worldwide. And we believe by joining forces and sharing knowledge and just having these everyday conversations about life with dementia, like we're going to talk today, we can help remove the stigmas attached to memory loss and help those live with the disease to continue to have purpose and connections. And here on Alzheimer Speaks Radio, we love hearing from everyone. So we interview people with dementia. We interview families who have been affected, business professionals with products and tools and services, as well as authors and singers and songwriters, movie directors, researchers, advocates. Everybody's voice is heard and heard equally here on the show. We just think we're all in this together and we have a lot of knowledge to share, and this is a great platform to be able to do that. We also believe that collaboratively is really the only way we're going to win this battle. And I know that philosophy is working because of all your likes and clicks and shares with all of our different platforms, be it our website that hosts all of our medians, or if you go to the radio show, the Dementia Chats webinar, the blog, the resource directory, the YouTube channel, all of our different social media outlets, but all of your likes and clicks and shares with your Facebook fans, your LinkedIn colleagues, your Twitter tribe is making a huge difference. And it's allowed us to be named the #1 influencer online regarding Alzheimer's, according to ShareCare and Dr. Oz, which is an incredible honor that we are just thrilled to bestow with. So I want to thank all of you for your continued support. And while you're listening, if you don't mind, just clicking away and sharing the episode. Today you're going to be filled with wonderful knowledge. And we've got somebody who has joined us all the way from the UK. So here in Minnesota, it's 1 o'clock, but over there, it's 7 p.m. And so he's working up past hours to help us share knowledge with all of you. So again, really, really appreciate that very much. But before I introduce our wonderful guest, I always like to give a shout out to a few different organizations that I think are really important for people to know about. The first is Alzheimer's Disease International. They are the association of all the Alzheimer's associations around the world. And so not only can you go to that site and find out who's closest to you, but you'll also get global knowledge and research there, which is just every year they do kind of an annual report, and then they have some subsequent series throughout the year. And so check out ADI or Alzheimer's Disease International. Another group I want to shout out to is HealthStar Home Health here locally in Minnesota. And they're a home health care organization that just goes above and beyond. They have had a large presence at the State Fair here doing memory screenings. They helped with the launch of the new Hollywood film, His Neighbor Phil, and are a major sponsor with that. So if you're looking for some home health care needs, definitely check them out. They train their staff and just have a wonderful, wonderful reputation. I highly, highly recommend them. Who else do I want to holler out to right now? The Purple Angel Program. If you're not part of that, you're going to want to be. The Purple Angel Project is a new global symbol for dementia. It's in over 17 countries, and it costs you no money and very little time. All you have to do is read a 8.5 by 11 poster, and you're off and running to be able to utilize this symbol. And the goal of it is just to get people to ask, what is it? so that you can have the conversation about dementia in and of itself. If you are looking for clinical trials, check out the Alzheimer's team on Facebook, or you can find them also on our homepage at alzheimerspeaks.com. And let me see. 3 other ones I just want to give a quick shout out to before I forget. I'm just bouncing back from being sick, and so I'm double checking myself here a couple of times today. I do want to give out a shout out to some of my partners here at Alive and Social. The first is the Twin Cities Hit Show, which broadcasts Monday through Thursday at 9:30, and that is with Rusty Gatenby and Colleen Justice and Chuck Gallup, and it's just a fabulous show. They talk about all the things that are going on in the local news and national news. So check them out. Again, it's called Twin Cities Hit Show. Another one that might be of interest to you is the Sports Ticket. And the Sports Ticket is your entry into all things sports. And Kevin George and Kendall Mark broadcast every Monday in the studio and Thursday from Bennett's Chop and Rail House. And they basically talk about all the upcoming games, if it's football, baseball, basketball, men or women's games, they cover it all. And tune in because you can get some winning tips for fantasy football if you're in that. I know I'm personally not, but I have a lot of friends that are really into that. And the last one is a show called Apples to Apples, and it's a sports show that features a father and a son team, and you'll be able to find out if father really always knows best. There's some really good banter that goes on that show. So with no further ado, let me introduce our guest today. Again, I am so honored that Ben Atkinson-Willes is with us. He's over in the UK, again, 7 o'clock his time, 1 o'clock here in the Midwest. And he has started a company called Active Minds to help support his own grandfather who had been living with Alzheimer's disease for over 10 years. And while he was caring for his grandfather, he discovered that there really was a lack of quality and age-appropriate activities products available for people living with dementia. And so his response, because he's a product designer, was to just jump in the ring and set up and do some research and development. And he's got just wonderful, groundbreaking activities for adults living with dementia. So this is going to be a wonderful conversation, and I would encourage you to join us with that. You can utilize the chat box and let us know if you have any questions that you would like us to ask Ben. So welcome, Ben. How are you?
Very good. Thank you very much for having me on. It's a pleasure to speak to you.
Well, I'm thrilled to have you with us. In looking over your website, Active Minds, Activity Products for Dementia, there's just such a nice variety of tools for people to be able to use. Can you tell us why you really decided? I kind of, talked a little bit about, it had to do with your grandfather, but why did you decide to set up Active Minds?
Yeah, sure. As you say, the background really came from my grandfather, who in the end had Alzheimer's for 16 years. And over that period, my family and I, with carers as well, helped look after him through that process. And it was through that experience that I really became aware of the challenges he faced on a day-to-day basis. And it always stuck out at me of how difficult it was to find activities for him to do. So as his condition progressed, activities became more and more basic, and it wasn't engaged with social situations or necessarily household tasks. So it got to the point where we were using kids' toys, kids' games to keep him occupied. And obviously that is quite patronizing for someone who's 86 living with dementia. Me and my family didn't like giving him those sort of products. And actually often they were too difficult as well, because they were designed for a child rather than someone living with dementia. You may also have visual impairment problems or dexterity problems. And it seemed ridiculous to me, given the number of people with dementia, that there wasn't anything specialist on the market to help support us. So that was really the light bulb moment where I thought I could do something about it.
So you have, and I won't go into this quite yet, but you have a lot of variety of different types of products. Can you tell us what was your first product that you tackled?
Sure, yeah. So the first product was a jigsaw puzzle. So that really came from my grandfather. When he was first diagnosed, jigsaws became one of the things that he would do on a regular basis. And it started with 1,000-piece jigsaws, and then we slowly worked down to 500, 200, and then 50, and then we were doing 20-piece jigsaws with Disney cartoons on, because that's all we could really find on the market.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, as a designer by background, how can we look at this product again and redesign it specifically for people with dementia so that my granddad could still engage with that activity.
Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. And I see now you have 13-piece puzzles that are award-winning puzzles that just provide a lot of stimulation and unique design and features. What are some of the unique designs and features? Are they bigger pieces or thicker pieces?
So exactly. So obviously the main feature is fewer pieces, makes it much simpler to do. But one of the key bits of information we discovered through the design and research process was actually the challenge was people to understand that the pieces were making up the picture on the box. So that connection wasn't always there as with once you've learned how to do a jigsaw. So what we did was simply redesign it. So the outline of the images was sat on the background. So it then became a case of matching up the pieces to the background sat inside a frame. So it became much more intuitive. So people who couldn't even do a three-year-old's jigsaw could suddenly do this without assistance. And the satisfaction that gave was pretty amazing.
Wonderful.
Along with that, obviously the content is now age appropriate. We've also made it so it's infection control compliant, so you can use it in hospitals or in care homes. So we really looked at every single feature and made design tweaks to it to make sure it was as effective as it could be.
Okay, wonderful. Now, when you went to launch this, how did you launch the product? I mean, did you start selling it on the web, or did you, approach communities with this population? What was kind of your strategy when you first started?
Well, when I first started with the jigsaw, it was really I was just making some products for my granddad. So I made, I think, 100 jigsaws as a university at the time, and managed to get a bit of press in one of our national papers on Sunday. And through that, I think I sold them all out in a week.
Wow.
And that's when I suddenly thought, there's actually a lot of demand for these sort of products here. So it was then that I started to build in the business plan and how we were going to get these products to the people who needed them. And there was a lot of knocking on doors, a lot of talking to the main charities in the UK here and some of the big retailers, and slowly built that up over the last 5 years.
Wow, that's fantastic. Now, from there, do you want to talk a little bit more about some of your other products that you have since you expanded?
Yeah, so the next product we did is called Aquapaint, and that was based out of observations when we were going into care homes that painting always seemed to be a really, really popular activity in homes. But it was pretty common for that to become too difficult, people not to be satisfied with what they were doing. Also, the use of paints meant it had to be, in the UK anyway, supervised, and that meant if someone wasn't feeling like doing it on a particular time, on a particular day, then they would miss out on that. So what we thought we'd do is come up with a no failure product that anyone could do any time of the day. So we created the Aquapaint, which basically is a white sheet, and when you paint water onto it, an image from behind will come through. As our best-selling product here in the UK, really, really, really engaging. So that's an exciting product. We also do a range of reminiscence products. I think all of our products have a reminiscence value to them in terms of the images, the content, all designed to be stimulate that one-to-one engagement with either a family member or with a carer in a care home to talk about past life experiences. So we do books, we do cards, we do DVDs all around that. We're just launching quite an exciting new game. It's coming out in November called Animal Bingo. And again, like with the painting, we found that bingo was always a really popular activity in care homes, but once people got to a certain stage, they were unable to do that activity, and so they would be excluded. So again, we looked at how we could make that product much more intuitive, much more engaging, so that people could continue to do the things they like for longer. And the thing we found with that was people were struggling to hear a number and then recognize that number on a page. So we've used sounds and images of animals instead. And in care homes that we've trialed in the UK, that's more or less doubled the engagement rate for that particular activity.
Well, and how fun to have those sounds and stuff too. I mean, that would just, for me, playing bingo, that would be just more engaging and more fun. And
yeah, and actually it leads on to conversation as well, and it's all round a much more engaging product. So yeah, so we launched that in November. We're really excited about it. I think it's going to be really, really popular.
Well, yeah, and they say, math is one of the first things to go when we're, trying to get them to do numbers and pictures and images. Yeah. That just makes so much more sense. And now you're using multi-senses, to be able to work that in to an activity. That just seems genius to me, and so thank you.
Yeah, we were made to see the difference it made. It was those moments are great when you're in a care and you see the difference that sort of small design change can make to the outcome of the product.
Yeah, my daughter is a activities person here in the U.S., and we can't wait to get your package delivered to actually be able to touch and feel everything and be able to see it, because your website really does a nice job showing the different types of things that you have created. But it's always just nice to be able to actually see them.
Yeah, it's once you try the product, that's when you can see.
Now, I have a question for you on your paints, because I've seen this before, and I don't know if yours do this or not, but when they use water and then the colors appear, do they disappear after a time, or are these one-time use?
Yeah, exactly. So once it dries, it goes back to white, so you can reuse it.
Okay.
So it lasts about 15 minutes, so you can do the painting and then have a conversation around it, and then you leave it to dry, and you can reuse it. So for a care home point of view, it's
wow. About how long does one piece last? I mean, I'm sure it depends on how it's handled and stuff, but do you have kind of an average use?
It completely depends, as I say, how you look after it, but we normally say 1 to 2 years with regular weekly use in a care home setting.
Wow.
So you can get a lot of use out of it, yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. Now, when you went designing your products for people with dementia, did you go into care homes and talk with families, or did you kind of pull off your own experience, or a combination? How exactly did you do your research? Because you've really touched on some great things, and we've only gotten to a few of them so far. But what's that research process really like?
So yeah, I mean, for us, Active Minds, that's really core to what we do. All of our products, we aim to be evidence and research based. So obviously speaking to professional carers, families, and people with dementia is absolutely critical. And we go through that process with every product. And it normally starts sometimes with my own personal experience, or in discussion with carers, in discussion with families, what products would help them, would support them. Speaking to people with dementia, what products would they like to do? That really forms the starting point of an idea. We'll then go away and brainstorm, come up with a selection of different solutions, go back into a care home or see a family and try that product out, gather feedback from the person with dementia and their family or their carer, and find out what we can improve, what's working, what's not working, and then come back to the office and design it again, go back, and we kind of repeat that process over about a 9-month period until we're 100% happy with the product's as effective as it can be.
Okay, great. Now, you also have some exercise programs for physical activities. Can you talk to us about why you chose to design that? You've got art projects and jigsaw puzzles and reminiscing and things like that. But why did you feel it was important to have some physical exercise as well?
I think from the research that I've done into the sector, mental and physical stimulation are absolutely key in the care for someone with dementia, in terms of improving quality of life, reducing boredom, frustration, and depression as well. So I think it's a really important area. We've actually developed that product in partnership with a company called Revitalise in the UK, who specialise in seated exercise activities. And that was something particularly we struggled with my granddad once he became chair-bound or bed-bound. How do we keep him physically active?
Mm-hmm.
So we designed this range of products to help support that.
Okay. Well, and in looking at the product here on the website, it talks about hands and fingers and mind warm up, the stress ball workout, the massage ball workout, and the bump ball workout. Can you explain kind of the differences between those? Just touch on that a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. So we normally start with exercising the hands. Sort of light, gentle exercises, and then move up to full body, top body exercises, which is where the bump ball comes in. So passing, catching games, resistance exercises. So it's normally kind of move through the stages to warm someone up rather than jumping straight in with the full exercises to start with.
Okay, well that makes perfect sense in terms of doing that. You also have on here some reminiscing products, and can you tell us a little bit about those?
Sure. So these are actually products that we are supplied to us by our partners here in the UK. But as I say, they're all based around reminiscence of different stages of dementia.
Mm-hmm.
So we have catterbox cards for kind of mid-stage of the 1940s and 1950s, which have images, content from those periods with information and key questions on the back. So that's really, really valuable for younger family members or younger carers who may not know much about the 50s or the 40s. How do you then start a conversation about when someone was younger? And this is a product that's aimed to try and support that and shape that discussion. We then also do books as well, which has more generic images of different themes like holidays, traveling, work. And the idea here is rather than bringing back specific memories of specific times, it's about bringing out someone's own memories, someone's own holidays. So it's really a tool to help people engage with each other. Because I know, certainly from my own personal experience with my grandfather, when I used to go and visit him, it was actually a real challenge to start conversations or engage anyway, and actually just having a tool that you could share together or look at together, whether it's a jigsaw, whether it was a book, really helped to break down those barriers. And once you'd sort of broken the ice, it then became much, much easier.
Yeah, I like with each of your categories, you don't have just a product and you have different modalities. So with the reminiscing, you've got the DVDs and the films, the books and the cards. I just think that's really nice too, because not everybody can use always the same modalities.
Exactly, yeah.
And so that's really nice. You also have a section here for communication cards, which I think there are a lot of people that need this, and one is a communication aid, and the other one you call dementia signage. So, do you want to explain those two products as well for our audience?
Sure. So again, this is when communication can often become more and more challenging. Helping people to communicate effectively through images can be a really, really effective way of making sure you understand them properly or support them properly. And the same with the signage. If someone's able to navigate their surroundings, which maybe, it's in a care home, for example, maybe not that familiar, just maintains that level of independence and also gives choice and control over what they want to do. So that's really what those products aim to support.
Okay. And they're great. I do a couple of memory cafes, and one of our members kind of did her own book. She's like, I haven't found anything out there, and so she had made her own book regarding signage and stuff that she used. And one of the things that she did was they were having a really tough time communicating because he'd lost his words, and so she would ask him a question like, where do you want to go for dinner? And so she went out and she took pictures of all the logos of different companies and put them into a book so that he could point, and then broke them down by grocery store or movie theaters or dining or, home goods, things like that. And she said that just worked out brilliantly, fast food, all of those things. And I thought, well, that's really a neat idea. And
that's fantastic. We see that a lot here in the UK as well. Kara's always the most innovative people we ever meet. They're always looking for new, interesting ways because there's so little on the market. You've got to be creative about what you pull together, and so that's where a lot of our ideas come from at the start.
Yeah. Now, with all of these tools too, you have some different packages that you offer as well, so people can buy individual products, or they can kind of get a package. From, it looks like one is, what do they have? The King and Queens of Kits, with something for everyone. This kit is perfect for numerous personalities and residents with a large range of interest, and that's the complete kit. Then you have the Essentials kit. That is a kit for every care home, supplying a selection of must-have activities for a range of personalities and interests, which is nice. And then you've got the Friends and Family kit, which is kind of a starter kit of different types of goodies containing balance of range of activities to just introduce your products and stuff. So your website, I have to say, is really clean and easy to maneuver and simple to use, which is huge, because not all are so easy to work with and stuff. And I think that in itself makes a big difference there. Now, you started this company, back in 2009, and you're looking at basically 6 years later. Did you ever think that it would be as large as it was when you just decided you wanted to help your grandpa?
Absolutely not. No. When I first started, as I say, it was just a project at university, and I was going to give products to people who helped develop them. But it sort of snowballed as soon as we released the first products, and I just thought, this is a great idea. I'm going to have to run with it, and it's just built up beyond far beyond my expectations. The demand that's been there for us, so it's been an exciting journey.
Very much so. On your site, you have a report called the Social Impact Report. Can you just highlight a few things from that report? I think they might be of interest.
So every year we try to do a social impact survey. So all of our clients, we send a survey to gather the impact that our product's been having out in the marketplace. It's obviously really important to what we do. That helps to inform future product development, also gives us a kind of benchmark of what we're doing at the moment. So 2015 has been, 2014 has been a really good year for us. So we look at how the products have helped improve quality of life for people with dementia. I think we've got 96% of our clients say that it does. Help to improve engagement between families and people with dementia, and also help to reduce boredom and frustration. So those are some of the things that we measure. But I know this year we helped over 32,000 people in the UK living with dementia through the use of our products to improve their quality of life, which is a figure I'm extremely proud of, and hopefully we can continue to grow next year.
Wow, that's incredible. That's absolutely fantastic. I love to hear stories like that, where it just all starts with a passion to make a difference and to improve a life. And And then once you improve that one life, it's kind of like, well, why not improve others, and sharing the knowledge that you have. And here sometimes in the U.S. people don't share because we get real proprietary over here. And I developed it; it's mine, and stuff. And we're getting much better. You guys are teaching us a lot of very good ways about collaboration with the memory cafes and the dementia-friendly movement and the Purple Angel. And people are really starting to get, I think, a lot more creative and open to trying new things and not just having this, I don't know, I call it a bed and a bag mentality for dementia, that, one kit fits everybody. And I can tell by your design and just talking with you and the products that you have that you get that, we need a variety to meet
Absolutely,
the needs of a lot of people and a lot of different stages. And people ebb and flow through those stages throughout the day. And you're really helping both family and care professionals both, assist those that are diagnosed. And so I think that that's absolutely fantastic. Do you have any secret that you want to share with us on the radio about new products pending? I guess is if it was a secret, you're not going to want to share it, but, got to ask. Girls got to ask.
Well, I mentioned the bingo game, which I haven't released yet, so that's, I don't know if knows about that yet. I'll give you a kind of brief flavor of what we're looking at for the next product. But we're working on something around using scent and sound as a sensory product, which is an area that hasn't really been looked at yet. So we're really excited about.
Ooh, that'll be really
potential
cool.
For that.
That'll be really, really cool. You'll have to let me know when the bingo game comes out, and the scent and sound one would just be, I would be all over that as well, because I think that that's so important. Both of those senses are just, that would just be a wonderful one.
Right, yeah, well, I'd happy to share that with you as soon as we comes out next year.
Yeah, for sure. What has your response been from people? Have you gotten individual stories? I know sometimes people will contact people who provide products with just their own personal stories. Have you had people reach out to you and talk about what a difference the Active Minds products have made?
Yeah, we have hundreds of people come to us and say, talk about the impact the products have had, which is always great to hear. So we had a husband who was unable to do a jigsaw, and then bought ours and then was able to do it. Those sort of stories are very regular. I remember we had one person who actually wasn't able to speak any longer and had a jigsaw of a Spitfire, and he was in the Navy in the war. And as soon as he completed the jigsaw, he then started to show us his tattoos and start to talk about some of his, a few of his anecdotes from the war. And that was an amazing experience, and the carers couldn't believe that it had happened. So there's many stories, but they're always fantastic to hear.
Yeah, that was. I have to mention this because that's the only thing that I felt was missing from your site that I think might help enhance it, because it is a really clear, clean, crisp site, very easy to understand. But maybe even just a couple of video testimonials for each category would be really kind of cool to just, I think, pump up people getting excited about using these products. And so that's my 2 cents from the U.S. there.
Give me a few months, they'll be up there.
Oh, wonderful. Is there anything that to you really stands out between your products and other types of activity products out there for people with dementia that you think you're really differentiating yourself with?
I think for us it's all about the research, the design process in the UK, that we try and separate ourselves from our competitors. So it takes a year from idea to having the product on the shelf through the design process that we go through. So that's really the core of what we do and how we try and differentiate ourselves from our competitors. We're also really push this idea in the UK of spontaneous activity, having activities that you can do anytime, any moment, anywhere, without any training. So that means someone who is up at 2:00 at night still have an engaging activity if they don't want to do it at 4:00 on the afternoon on Tuesday. So I think with that process, we can just lift the whole level of activities throughout the care sector and in family homes as well.
Okay. One question I have is, and maybe you guys have this already and maybe you don't, but do you guys, since you target, home care agencies and stuff, do you have almost like an activity schedule, like a recommended kind of rotation of different types of activities just to keep stimulation at its peak for people? I would think, I don't know, over here, staff is like a revolving door. I don't know if you guys have that problem over there.
Yeah, we do, unfortunately.
But I'm thinking, that might be an added bonus for a home or a hospital, just to kind of guide people, or even something that would say for certain suggestions for different types of behaviors or personality types, that these types of activities might de-escalate. Like somebody from wandering, or someone who is really missing somebody, or kind of down and sad. I'm just thinking if you had some educational pieces in terms of how you slip those activities and kind of do that transition might be something neat too. And maybe that's out of your wheelhouse, but just kind of a thought.
That's something we're trying to do at the moment. We're building a handbook to go with all the products to sort of explain how to get the best out of them and when to use them, what situation with what people. Mm-hmm. At the moment, where we want to be longer term is we want to have an activity product for every person at every stage of dementia. I think at that point we can start to build programs around them about how to get the most out of them, when to use them, which is going to be really, really exciting.
Wonderful. Now, people can get a hold of you by going to your website, which is www.active and then -minds, which is plural, MIDS.co.uk, or you can email them at info@active-minds, again, that's MINDS.co.uk. Or you can always call them, but again, that's an international call, at 0044-203-488-2001. Ben, this has just been a fascinating conversation. I love what you're doing, and I definitely want to hear about the bingo game and the Sense and Sound products as you move forward with those, because I would love to be able to let our audience know about those products as well. Any last comments that you have for our audience?
I was going to add to, in terms of the products, we also do sell some of them through Best Alzheimer's products over in the US.
Oh, okay.
So if it may be cheaper for postage and communication to talk to them as well.
Okay, Best Alzheimer's products, wonderful. Yeah, they've got some nice stuff there too. So that would be great. Plus, it'd probably be a little quicker delivery wise if it's national versus international.
Exactly, yeah.
And a lot less on shipping.
Yeah, don't have to fly them across the Atlantic.
Yep, exactly. Well, thank you so much for your time with us today. I really appreciate it, and I wish you and your company the very best. I think you're doing brilliant work, and I thank you and your family and your grandfather for having the disease in terms of he was really the one who ignited this whole movement for you, and you taking advantage of really wanting to make a difference and then sharing that with the world. So compliment you very highly for doing so. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for having me on.
Okay.
It's been a pleasure.
Have a great week. Thank you.
Thank you.
For those of you who missed our show last week, we had Vicki Kind on, and we talked about the right decisions for someone else's life. And Vicki is a bioethicist, and she's got a great book and workbook out. I would really recommend that you listen to that show. Next week, we will have Molly Fogel on, and she is the director of the Educational and Social Services for Alzheimer's Foundation of America. So that will be really good next Tuesday. This Friday, we will have a show posted on Savor Your Life, educational and resource fairs, what they're doing really different from a lot of fairs that are out there for the community and why. I think you'll be interested in that. This morning, we had our Dementia Chats webinar, and we talked a lot about pets and the power of pets, and not only service dogs, but just the emotional compassion that they can bring and help people find their calm and find more joy. And so that was a very interesting conversation with our experts that are living with the disease. I want to remind people, too, if you're local here tonight at the Alton over in the Highland area at 1306 Alton Street, we are going to be doing a screening of His Neighbor Phil. Appetizers start at 5, and we're going to start showing the film at 5:30 and then have a talk back after. On the 22nd of this month, we will be showing the film at the North St. Paul City Hall, and that screening will start at 6. And then also on November 12th, at 6:30 at J. Arthur's Cafe. That's where we have our Memory Cafe. We are going to be doing a screening there as well. On November 5th, the Savor Your Life Educational and Resource Fair will be at the Transfiguration Catholic Church, and that starts at 4 and runs till about 8:15. I'm lucky enough to be chosen as their keynote speaker, but they're also going to be talking about owning your own future, the Minnesota Plan for Long-Term Care, and they have a lot of various sponsors. We're going to be a really good panel discussion, and you'll also get dinner with that. So check out that information. Until next week, we will talk soon. Take care, everybody. Bye now.
Hi, everyone. This is Meredith from the Senior Fitness with Meredith podcast, where I discuss all things for seniors. From fitness, your health and wellness journeys, how to be all over strong and beyond. I also have my mini podcast called Motivation with Meredith. It's a great, quick motivational pick-me-up for your days. Join me, listen now, search for Senior Fitness with Meredith on your favorite podcast platform.